Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ryan, and I'm flanked by some nerds.
I'm Nerdarchist Ted.
Nathan Nerdarch.
Nerdarchist Dave.
And we have a GM 911 from Matt Malone regarding, basically, he had a city in his homebrew world destroyed, and then his players are rebuilding around the ashes a new outpost and becoming a new political power. He wants to figure out, should he go with prior campaign arcs that he had in mind, because originally he had planned for them to just go on to the next city in the north, or should he have a more politically involved game and campaign and take in all the woes and headaches that that being a political power would entail, right?
Well, before we get into the politics of that, down below in the description you can find Nerdarchy, the newsletter, where you can get weekly tips and even learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
Okay. So I would say that he's got an established villain or power in this world that destroyed this existing town. I think this is a simple, cut and dry. They wanted to establish a base. They've got the political connections and power to be able to set it up. I say let them build a town, or their new base of operations,
stronghold, whatever you want to call it,
and continue on with the story that you've already got worked out. And just splash in every once in a while something political, because they are linked to this place. They're the founding fathers, if you will, and they're going to need to deal with the politico.
And also, too, the coolest way so obviously it's yes that you need to go with the political action because your players chose to make this thing happen, so they want it in the game, right? So that was their player agency. Can you feed things from your original plot arc that will butt against what's going on, what they've established? So pulling deeper into the campaign arc that you have, like the things that they chose to do, and that would be the best way to go about it, I think.
There's a couple more aspects. Like one was, they want to form a military force, which is fine. That would, if you're going to hold territory, you're going to need some way of keeping
right.
it.
You as like a group of 5 or 6 adventurers cannot hold miles and miles of terrain.
Yeah, and they're like also going to have to do a police force if they're bringing more people in, which again, the military can actually double for that depending on what kind of structure you're going for. He also said, well, do I need a system to decide what's going on with this base of operation while my adventurers are out, adventuring, and one of the things that it seems apparent too is like he's got an overarching plot that wherever the players were going to be at doesn't seem like it's going to affect it overly much. He just assumed they would move on to the next town and run things from there. But like, nah, we're gonna rebuild. Yeah, we're gonna put things under our control, and we're gonna make sure it doesn't happen again.
So I would say, as the DM, no, you don't need to come up with a system. Whatever you want to happen in the town can happen in the town.
And also let their choices that they're doing while they're adventuring, if it could have repercussions to the town, like if they don't stop one invading force or whatever, where it mostly gets through with few casualties, maybe it attacks
or they show up and it's under siege.
Yeah, injures their garrison or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you can have the effects of what they're doing, quote unquote, in the field affect their base of operations, and at the same point, their neglect of the base of operations can have catastrophic effects as well. So if they're not maintaining what they've built, then they're having a problem.
I would say if you're going to go for the new place, you could have competent people are going to show up to try and make their way in the world, and just they get to choose between several of them, let's say, and maybe it's one. That's gonna tell a lot about the PC's thoughts on the matter of what they want for their town, based on the type of personality they pick for maybe the person in charge of the captain of the guard, or
so the magistrate.
And also I would double down on trying to get them to the northern city if you got a lot of stuff going on there, because building a new place when a town where a city or whatever size location it was got wasted and decimate it to nothing, pretty much, almost, then I would say that can easily just happen again.
Right.
So
especially
what are they
less
going
well
to do different
defended,
with a smaller group of people, with many people having aversion to being in that area because they're probably refugees from that area, leaving that area? No one's going to want to be like, oh yeah, this is a great place to go be a peasant at, so I can get killed.
So you had said about hiring the NPCs. Something you could do would be for each quote unquote position that they're gonna hire and set up, you could come up with like 2 to 3 choices with a with each character have some kind of, flaw or subplot set up. So, okay, if they hire this guy, this is a potential.
You have one that could be like a plant for the Dark Army. Like, like you could have 5 options if they happen to choose this one that looked really stunning because they would have probably had a good plant to put in. Like if they happen to pick this one guy, then like they have to deal with a potential coup later on.
What I mean is all those NPCs that are coming to basically apply for the job have a reason for being there and not someplace safer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, and I was thinking a coup as well, but it doesn't necessarily mean Dark Army coup. It could just be
somebody else that wants the power.
Some other
political power.
a neighboring kingdom or a neighboring city wants to expand their power.
I kind of disagree too that the fact that it will be harder to hold. If you go with a fortified position that's smaller, it's actually easier to hold because if they build a castle, fort, or stronghold, opposed to having a town there or even a city,
there's much more entry points.
Yeah, with a city, like you have citizens that you're looking to protect, and maybe you have.
Some of them could be insurgents that disguise themselves as people that would reside in the city.
Well, it could be, but we have no idea what happened to the original city.
Right.
Only that it got decimated.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you build a position to be held, and it's a lot easier to hold a castle than it is a town or a city. Matter of fact, usually your cities and towns usually have a castle to fall back to
At their center.
For that reason. But the problem with that is if you have a large population, it's so much harder then to withstand a siege.
Not everybody.
you're not going to last through a siege.
So
You lose a couple people to different archers just over time. You're going to lose people getting shot at.
So
and then people are flinging Darren's ancient fortress at your
Yeah.
And bam,
From
siege tower.
catapults.
Yeah, from
right there.
catapults,
Yeah. So another thing, with the doubling down of come to the northern city. Well, there could be an envoy that comes while they're trying to organize all this stuff. And
Yeah, but I don't think he's trying not to force his players to do what he wants.
did I say force the players? Here's a pile of treasure. Are you going to come this way or go the way you want to go? All right.
Or well, I mean, it ties it.
They still get to make the choice. It might be a stupid choice at that point, but they still get to make it.
In the northern city, you could do like a trade envoy because if you're establishing a fortification, like you need to figure out your diplomatic ties and this and that. So like maybe there's a resource that they're able to get.
I feel like
their
there's a
hands on.
certain like human element though of not wanting to be conquered and wanting to preserve or rebuild from the ashes,
yeah.
and it's a recurring theme in many stories, and it seems like those players have latched onto that, and so it's probably gonna be hard to persuade them to go elsewhere because they don't want to suffer the defeat and they want to win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you can make a lot of the threads come to them, but there might be the carrot that gets them to the north. Like, that it's still about the reestablishment of this colony, this stronghold, but there could be another appropriate lure to the party as well that could get them.
But it all depends upon what his story that he's already
It
written.
didn't sound like it was relevant to him whether they went there or not.
Well, if
he
it's
just
not-
thought they would.
If it's not strategically, and what's this town about? Was it just raised for that sake, or was there an actual strategy to destroying it rather than occupying it? And if someone's in with what the player character's side is rather than whatever this dark force is and this other problem in the world, if they're sympathetic to them, they might be able to be some kind of patron and assist them. Maybe they have a stronghold or keep within the city or town in the north and say, well, come this way, I can, assist you in any way I can, blah, 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 or spend however many months it's going to take to organize a new settlement while you're getting attacked by stuff. I mean, you just don't build castle in a week. It's going to take a long freaking time. You're going to get attacked. If someone just came by and smashed that place, they're going to smash you before you get anything done. And I would smash them. Be like, this is your decision.
If it's
This
a
is
war
what
that moved on,
this
we
is
don't
what
know.
would happen in reality. Is what that's my perspective is if they smashed the city, they smashed it for a reason. If it was just simple revenge stuff, well, they're just going to come back and kick over their little fort when they
Break their
come back
sandcastle?
again. Or they're going to siege them, and they're probably not going to have the resources to withstand a siege.
Or the city was just in their way, and they knocked it down.
If
and
it's
they
a
kept going.
horde of orcs, they might not be around anymore. So I don't know
Depends
what
on
the
the motivation.
dark force that destroyed it is.
So there's details like that, and like you said, I would definitely, if they're going to do it, there would be adventures that spring up around just trying to hold the land and get it together. He says they have the resources and connections to make it happen. I would just do, like you said, you just have adventures that would happen around that. Like, okay, the Raiders come again, or the forces are on the move again. What are you going to do?
Or somebody's attacked the. You have a shipment of quarried stonework that's going to be like your stoneworks for building the castle, and like that got hijacked, and you have to go track that down. So like things that are just related to the construction of this castle that they have to solve these problems too.
And as far as a mechanic for, I guess we could say like the overall well-being of the stronghold while they're away. You could probably have modifiers based on who they pick.
Like a morale
like
rating.
like a morale
System.
How has all the caravans been coming in for supplies? Those kind of things. What's behind? What's ahead? You just make like a little chart of things that. Kind of like how a chase chart has some detriments, and then sometimes nothing bad happens.
So a lot of automated. I felt like there was too much in it, but there was Pathfinder, the Adventure Path. There was Kingmaker, where you build your own kingdom. It was very Civ development. I just thought it was too much so. But maybe you can buy the part of the module that has those roll charts and just harvest the bits of and just use a stripped down version of Pathfinder's Kingmaker.
As a DM, I'd just probably pick.
Yeah.
It'd be whatever my mood was. That's what happened. I was in a bad mood. The giant came and kicked over your fort again.
Whatever's going to alter, or assist what kind of plots and things you're developing as well could be something to look at as motivation for what happens in the stronghold area.
So hopefully, Christian, that gives you some ideas of what you can do and how to do it. We've run the gambit from go with it to try and encourage them strongly to go to the north. Whatever works for your game. You guys, what do you think? How should Christian handle it? Down in the comments below while you're at it. Like, share, and subscribe.
You could check us out over on nerdarchy.com, and that was Matt Malone that we're doing this one.
Oh, Christian was the last one?
Yeah.
Matt
Sorry,
Malone,
Matt.
sorry.
Okay, so you can check us out on nerdarchy.com.
While there, you can check out the store and get some sweet swag.
And check out Funny Memes over on Facebook.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.